Dr. Keith Johnson, known as America's #1 confidence coach and Amazon best-selling author of the book, The Confidence Solution. I'm so glad that you connected with us today. We're going to talk about advantage or the disadvantaged life. And we're going to talk about the concept of, have I lived an advantaged life or have I lived a life of disadvantage? So it's going to be great. Thank you for joining. I want you to like. I want you to share. I want you to please post below if you're connecting up with us. Say hi. Say where you're from. Just connect with us. And if you're watching by replay, just hit #replay down below. And by all means, so you know when I come on live, make sure you click the little notification button. We're so excited to have a lot of people connected on a lot of different platforms today. We got people joining us on Twitter. We got people joining us on Periscope. We got people joining us on Twitch. We got, what other things do we got going on? Vimeo, and soon LinkedIn. LinkedIn's going to be joining us up real soon. I applied for that to be able to connect for that. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to see all of you on. Let me just say a hi to a couple of you real quick. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Jerry. Hey, good to see you. Hey, Mike. Good to see you on live. Hey, Matt Anderson. Good to see you online. This is wonderful. Thank you so much for joining. And please, again, if you're watching and you're listening to this, hey, I'm watching by replay, just hit #replay. Let me know that you're there. And if you have any questions or anything, just post it down below. I answer all of those. I respond to all of your comments down below myself, and I just love to hear from all of my audience. So I want to talk about living an advantaged life versus living a disadvantaged life. And to me, it's all a matter of perspective. Perspective and how you see everything, it really shapes how your life turns out. And how you see things shapes how you feel. And how you feel determines how you act and how you behave. And so perspective on everything in life is very important, that we have a proper perspective of our life and how we were raised, how we were brought up, the environment that we were born into. Now, what do we know about the environment that God created for Adam? God created Adam in a perfect environment. He created Adam for paradise. That's God's intent. A place of perfect peace, a place of positivity, a place of abundance, a place of absolute peace and harmony. That's what paradise was all about. And that is the atmosphere that God wanted man to live in. But what do we know? We know that after the fall, sin entered into the whole race, and the wages of sin is death, and lawlessness came into the land. And now, what kind of environment do we have? We have a different environment than God's original tent. We have an environment that has hate in it. We have an environment that has negativity in it. We have an environment that is negative, and we also have an environment that's also positive. And so the fact of the matter is, we don't have a perfect environment to live in, and we will never have a perfect environment to live in, I don't think, until we get back to heaven. And but I know some people may want to cut some theological hairs on that, but that's okay. But basically, let me tell you, as long as you're here on this earth, everything's not going to just be positive. Everything's not going to just be great and grandiose. In this earth, you're going to have trials, you're going to have tribulations, you're going to have struggle, which is what we've been talking about. And so when I was being brought up, I always felt like I was raised in a disadvantaged life. That, if you ask me, I would say, man, I really grew up with a lot of negativity, and I did. My mom and and my stepfather, they were alcoholics. There's, abuse in the home. There was a lot of negative going on, and where I lived, my father ran off and he became a Harley Davidson guy, and he became a member of Satan's Escorts, which is a Harley Davidson group. He was a drunk. He, sold marijuana, smoked marijuana, got me drunk for the first time, got me stoned for the first time. Yeah, my father, when I was like 12 years old. So the environment, the atmosphere that I was raised in was not good. And I remember that we had this church bus that would come and pick us up on Sunday mornings and take us to church, to Sunday school. And so I would go to Sunday school, and I remember in my Sunday school class, there was another guy in the class that was actually the pastor's son. And I remember sitting in the Sunday school class and looking at the pastor's son. Of course, he was seated right at the very front of the class, and anytime the teacher had a question, he knew the answer, and he knew how to do all of the kind of church things. And here I was a kid that was raised in a home where my family didn't go to church, and we weren't religious or at all, right, with that kind of a background. But I'm jumping on this bus going to Sunday school on Sunday morning because it went by my house. And I remember looking at this pastor's kid, this PK kid, and I'm thinking, man, wow, what a life he has. I'm looking there from my perspective, looking in, and I see, wow, wouldn't it be great to live in a pastor's home? Wouldn't it be great? Because he dressed right, he looked right, he had a lot of friends in the class because he knew other people in his little church group, right? And so I felt like I was the outsider looking in, and always looking at that life and saying, wow, I have a disadvantaged life. And at the same time, we lived in an area where it became one of the most affluent areas in the area that I lived in. I'm not going to tell you where because of the story. You could figure a couple things out. But because of that area became affluent, so a lot of my friends that I went to school with, a lot of them, their families were successful, doctors, business owners, management level type people. It was always upper middle class to even rich lived in that area. So I went to school with a lot of them. And so even there, I looked at a lot of them and said, wow, boy, they really got an advantage, being raised in such an atmosphere. And then, so for years, I kind of had that perspective. And it's really interesting that I remember one time I went back to my hometown, and I said, whatever happened to that PK kid, that preacher's kid that was in Sunday school class? And I started to hear the story of his life, and how his life did not turn out very well. He ended up going into the ministry, and he made some serious mistakes, one mistake after the next mistake after the next mistake. And when I heard all these stories about his life and how, basically most of the people in the area I was brought up in really, have a negative, very, very, very negative opinion of the guy. The guy's life is not done very well at all. He hasn't impacted very many people's lives for the good. He's impacted a lot of people for the negative. And then I look at my life, and I'm thinking, wow, look at what happened to me. Here I've traveled the world, spoke to over 1 million people, have get testimonies all the time of people writing me in, telling me how my books, how my trainings, how my speeches, my YouTubes, how things have touched their lives, how things have changed their life. And now I look at that and I say, wait a minute. Maybe I was seeing the whole advantage and disadvantage in a wrong light. maybe actually the way I was raised was actually an advantage to me when I thought it was a disadvantage. And here's what you'll find. When you really study and do an intense study on people who become really wealthy, people who become really successful, people who achieve really big things and rise to the top, most of the multi-millionaires that you know are first generation. It's not handed down from generation to generation. Why is that? And I've seen it so many times. Many people who are raised in that type of an atmosphere where it seems like they have all the advantages, they actually lose the eye of the tiger. They lose that internal hunger that is necessary to achieve something big. And what is it? They don't have to go through the struggle that the person that wasn't raised in the perfect atmosphere has to go through. So they bypass the struggle point. And remember, our struggle, we have to honor the struggle, because the struggle makes us stronger, so that we can handle the next levels of success in our life. And what happens is, if you have no struggle, a lot of times, here's what happens. You lack hunger. You lack that ability that comes from the gut, that comes from the heart, that says, I'm going to keep pushing my way through, even though I am facing resistance. You lose that underdog edge that's needed. And I want to encourage you with this. Underdogs. There's nothing wrong with being an underdog. Actually, it's proven that being an underdog is actually an advantage. Yes. Being an underdog is actually an advantage. Being an outsider is actually an advantage. Wow. Going through the struggle, needing to fight a little harder because you know you're not inside the favored circle. I hope you're hearing me here today. Is actually an advantage. More people achieve great things outside of the circle than inside the circle. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Don't buy into the mentality that just because things are against you, just because the odds are against you, that somehow you are limited, somehow you are paralyzed. My friend, that is a victim mentality. Grab onto the champion's mindset. Grab onto the Rocky concept. That the reason why that show was so popular was because he was the underdog. He was marginalized. He was pushed down. He was not liked by the system. He was not wanted. And yet, when an opportunity came, he over-prepared himself. He got himself ready. He used that moment. He used the frustration and the anger of being marginalized, of being the underdog. He used that as energy. He used that as fuel to fight his way through to get the breakthrough. And that's what I want to encourage you with today, my friend, because all of us can feel like we were raised in a disadvantaged situation. And all of us may look at our different areas of our life and say, man, because of this is a disadvantage. No, you need to flip the script. And you need to start telling yourself, wait a minute, the fact that I am different, the fact that I wasn't raised in a Leave It to Beaver home, the fact that I wasn't raised with a rich family, that has been an advantage to me. When you study wealth, here's what you'll find. You'll find one generation that produced it. They had to go through great struggle. They had to sacrifice. They had to pay the price. They had to be determined. They had to struggle hard, the first generation. And then once they achieved success, wealth that was passed down to the next generation, you know what happens? I know you already know what happens. Once that wealth is passed to the next generation, to another generation that did not have to struggle for it, another generation that did not have to pay the price for it, the next generation who did not have to take the hits for it. Guess what happened to the next generation? I think you're getting it. Most of that generation, they either stayed the same or they declined in the wealth. And from generation to generation, the wealth goes downhill. And that's what I want you to get here today. That no matter how you're raised, if you'll honor the struggle, if you'll say, you know what, I'm glad I went through all that. I faced that in my 30s. In my 30s, I said, you know what, I'm glad that I was raised in the home that I was raised in. And see, that gets all the anger issues out of you. That gets all the judgments out of you. That gets all of those things. It gets out of you, and you just say, you know what? I'm so glad I was born in this situation, because here's what I know. God knew me before the foundations of the world. And God knew the exact environment that I needed to be birthed in. And if you are birthed in a rough environment, the greater the struggle, the greater the success. The greater the struggle, sometimes the greater the potential that God has for you. The greater the assignment. So I want to leave you with that thought here today. Honor the struggle. Remember, you are stronger than you think, and your future holds some great things for you. Don't fight it. Don't hide the struggle. See, when I stopped hiding it, and when I just said, hey, you know what? Instead of hiding it and hating the struggle that I had to go through, I'm going to honor that struggle. And it changed my whole perspective. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you, Irene, for showing up. Thank you, Linda, for showing up. Yeah, she's got the eye of the tiger. That's right. Thank Rocky. Thank Rocky. That's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about that. He didn't have the best coaches. He didn't have the best atmosphere. He was living in an apartment in the ghetto. He isn't that a great story? It's the underdog story. And with God on our side, all of us can overcome the odds. And I want you to post that down below. I will defy the odds. I know the odds are against you. I know that. I know that. Yeah, that's right. There are other people who have advantages in life. Yeah. But here's what I know. You can defy the odds. You can beat the odds because you're stronger than what you think you are, and you honor the struggle. Wow, so good to see. So good to see everybody coming on and commenting. Ray, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, buddy. Sherry, good to see you. Mike, so good to see you. Go ahead and post if you're on. I just want to say hi. My wife. Hey, there she is. Roger is watching. You're a comeback man. You're a comeback man. Hey.
Somebody else has got a haircut.
Oh, my little sweetheart. My little sweetheart. Come on in the picture frame. Here's my little honey, my two honeys.
She just got her haircut.
Oh, she got her haircut. Show everybody your haircut.
Look at your haircut.
Okay.
Look at the camera there.
Yes. She's definitely a winner.
Yep.
So we just want to pray for you right now. Can we do that, hon?
Yeah.
Let's pray for people who are coming online. Father, we just pray in the name of Jesus that you would just bless all of our followers.
Yes,
You'll bless those who are watching. And Lord, you'll put that champion spirit
right
inside of every person, that champion mindset that says, man, give me obstacles, give me struggles,
right.
give me the hard, let me go down the hard road. I don't want to go down the easy road. Boy, that takes
right.
confidence to pray that kind of prayer,
that's for
doesn't it?
sure.
Yeah, it sure does. Yes, sir. So in Christianity, we got so many wimps. We got people who want to take the easy way out. They want the easy way.
Right.
And let me tell you something. Easy never produces epic people.
No, it doesn't.
Woo, that's a quote.
That's very much a
Easy never produces epic people.
Amen to that.
Oh my. Get that in your spirit and let's go. Let's go. Let's believe God that we're going to defy the odds.
True.
Everybody else is saying it's impossible. You told yourself it's impossible.
Exactly.
But man, you are stronger than you think you are. That's our message here.
All things are possible with God.
All things are possible. Let's do it. Let's show people out in the world what a person who's born disadvantaged can do when you connect with
sure.
God. Right? That's right. That's right. We love all of you.
Yep.
And thank you so much for joining.
Have a blessed day.
We got to get, how many of you believe we need to get Bonnie on here talking? How many of you want to get Bonnie on here, Dr. J, today? I think we should, I vote once a week. We get Bonnie on here once a week. How many of you vote? We get Bonnie on here once a week. Post down below. Come on. If you think we should get Bonnie on once a week, say yes. Come on. I need some encouragement. All right, you two.
be
God
blessed.
bless. Thanks for joining. Talk later.